What's going on, everybody? Devore Havoc, Shake, and G Money. This is the Not for Debate podcast. We are live on Facebook and on YouTube. Be sure to go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe button, and most definitely share. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, and also other major streaming platforms. This evening, we're going to do the format a little bit differently. I know we talked about this leading up to this evening as far as breaking down two divisions this evening. We got the AFC North and we have the AFC East this evening. And we're going to have an extra pod that is going to be this Tuesday, which is going to break down the AFC South and the AFC West. Just for a heads up. But Havoc, glad to have you back. We missed you from the last pod.
Good to be back. You know, had to go upstate, recharge the battery. Back at it.
Okay. Did you want to say anything in specific that you did?
First of all, just leaving the city is enough. But you know, I mean, it was like one of them. It was. I'm not gonna lie. It was bougie camping. It was bougie camping. It was camping with Wi-Fi. You know, they set you up with a nice little thing upstate, nice little cabin. You got you got the Wi-Fi, you got the amenities, all that type of stuff. Because a lot of people like camping, like being out in nature. I tend to just want to leave the animals alone. We've taken up quite enough space as it is. Just let the animals have their space. But it was a good time. Good to get out of the city for a little while. As a lot of people have been locked down for a whole year at this point, so it's just good to get out for a second.
That's definitely what's up, man.
Yeah,
recharging the batteries is always good. You could actually tell in the person's voice when he was like, had to get away for a second. I like to call it a mental day.
You have to take it. You have to take it, man. I mean, I considering how last year when I should take a mental year, but hey, man, we back at it.
That's what's up, man.
That's dope, brother.
The last pod Wednesday, we kind of voiced our opinion on the Coming to America 2 movie. I know you were absent. I know that was probably one of your biggest movies that you were looking forward to.
Yep.
Over the course of the 2020 season. So before we hop into our AFC East breakdowns, go ahead and voice your opinion on the Coming to America 2 movie.
So first things first, the thing that made Eddie Murphy great in the 80s was the fact that he was in serious movies that had funny parts in it. Think about it. Coming to America is actually a pretty serious story with a lot of funny parts. 48 Hours, kind of a serious movie with funny parts. Beverly Hills Cop, more fun, but you get the drift that I'm getting with.
Yeah.
He's
Trading Places. Yeah.
Trading Places, exactly. He's real good at movies that have heart, and you can get a good laugh as well. Like that's Eddie Murphy's parts. Yeah, Beverly Hills Cop. Yeah, I said Beverly Hills Cop. Yeah, that's Eddie Murphy's sweet spot, man. It's the movies that got heart, that got story, and he knows how to add his funniness to it, his comedic genius to it. And I feel like
coming.
Yeah, but in this movie, man, this movie didn't. They didn't. In my opinion, they didn't really care much about the storyline. They didn't really care much about the character development. Like, I still know the McDowells. You know what I mean? Like, that movie had Samuel L. Jackson as a bit player, like the first one. You know what I mean? Like this, like the whole storyline with her and then the Soul Glow Empire and him and Simi coming to America. It was just an amazing movie. They just had so much detail with the characters, and I feel like in the sequel, hey man, they gave y'all the laughs, they gave y'all the nostalgia. If that's what you were hoping for, then you got that. They weren't really trying to give you too much more else. And the dude that played his son, I was not too fond of. And I will leave it at that.
I could definitely agree with the not liking the son in the movie because he had such a great cast of actors. And like you went from Wesley Snipes, had Michael Blackson, Shake said Trevor Noah,
Tracy Morgan,
Tiana Taylor,
John Amos was back in there, James Earl Jones was back in there,
and then we get this no-name guy, which, by the way, I did a little bit of research. He's from my area, so he gets a little bit of respect from me after the fact. But I felt like we could have went. Maybe we could have went with the dude. I forgot what his name is. I don't know. None of y'all watch Power. Do you watch Power, G Money?
Yeah. Of course, I watch Power.
Okay.
You're talking about the guy that plays Kane?
No, Andre.
Oh, Andre. Okay, Andre. Yeah.
He was in the movie. He was the one that was supposed to marry Eddie Murphy's daughter at the beginning.
I don't think that would work because he doesn't. This guy, the kid that they got, he kind of favors Eddie a little bit, at least the skin complexion. I don't think Andre would have worked, but I get your point. His acting would have been better.
Well, that was just an example. If we were just going to go with a better known actor than what we got with,
you know, I don't even think you need a better known actor. I just think you just needed, like, the son could have played the role of the straight man, so to speak, and everyone else could have got their thing off to, kind of bouncing off him, playing it in a more straight way.
Right.
But the problem is, man, and it's like I said, the character development in the story, it didn't really, it just didn't hit right. You know, like think about the last movie where you got to see their busted ass apartment in Queens, their first apartment. You got to see the dusty sidewalks. You got to see the barber shop, the community center, the McDowells. You get to feel.
And maybe Eddie didn't think that type of comedy would work in today's climate.
Well, but the thing is, the original Coming to America, although it has a lot of funny parts, it's actually
serious.
It's actually not. If you take him out of it, it's not like if you take the barbershop scene out of Coming to America, it's like a mildly funny movie, but it's still like a very good, well-written movie because it has like real characters and character development. For one example, when Lisa McDowell goes outside after the party at her house, when she realizes she doesn't want to marry the Soul Glow guy, and Prince Akeem's out there talking about Nietzsche, and she's like, "Oh, what type of guys are talking about Nietzsche and blah 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 blah." Like that's what I'm talking about, like real dialogue. And this was it kind of, in my opinion, it feels like they were writing the movie as they were making it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it feels like they was just, hey, let's just get some laughs and get up out of here. Let's get these laughs. Let's get this check. Let's get up out of here. Now, luckily, they had Tracy Morgan. They had Leslie Jones up in there. Give y'all some laughs, but like I don't even know the son's name. I just watched the movie and I don't know the son's name. And I know all the names of all the characters in Coming to America, which came out over 30 years ago. That's my point.
All right. I felt like you was
I've been holding that in.
Get this off your chest for I guess this last episode. I'm assuming.
Coming to America is my favorite movie of all time by far. It is the perfect movie. In my opinion, it is a perfect movie. And I'm okay if the sequel ain't as good as the original, but the sequel didn't have heart. That's the issue I have.
Have you heard? It's going to be a part 3. Well, they're talking about a part 3.
Please get someone different to write it.
All right.
Please.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Please.
Let me say my piece real quick. Well, the thing about that is, number one, the people that did wrote Coming to America is one who also wrote Trading Places, and him and Eddie Murphy had a falling out. So I doubt they're going to be writing any Coming to America anytime soon.
Yeah, they were on SNL, I think.
Yeah, and secondly, I think this Coming to America wasn't about character development. It was just about answering questions about the what happened with the princess, what happened with this. I think it was more about answering questions and follow-ups versus building the story because the story was already built. So that's how I feel about that.
If they were going to go that direction, they might as well have just ordered 5 episodes and then just made it like a Coming to America miniseries.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. If you weren't trying to do the story development and all that type of stuff, just do a little 5-pack.
Yeah, and the thing about it too is, remember, I think now that you said that about Eddie Murphy, I think of Chris Tucker, because I think Chris Tucker did everything that Eddie Murphy did, starting with the stand-up, starting in Friday, and then, like you said, serious movies like Money Talks,
Fifth Element.
Fifth Element, but just
Fifth Element was his first movie, right?
Having funny roles.
So.
Yeah.
After Friday, of course.
No, Friday was the first movie.
No, Friday. Yeah, you're right. Friday was the first.
Okay, so it went Friday, then Fifth Element.
Yeah.
And then Rush Hour, and then
the Money Talks and all that. Yeah,
right. Okay, I know Money Talks came after Rush Hour. I remember him talking about Rush Hour and then Money Talks on Shannon Sharp's podcast. That's how I kind of know that off the top of my head right now.
Okay.
And lastly, I'm gonna say that Coming to America, one thing that part one was better than part two is, yes, part one had a lot of had an all-star cast, but at the time of the movie it was being filmed, there were no names, so there were a lot more hungry and ambitious actors. Versus now that they're already set, they're not really that invested in trying to put on a better performance, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. Like they were like Arsenio Hall was hungry to establish himself. You know, Eddie Murphy was hungry. That's the first time they let Eddie Murphy do 100 characters. You know, like in the first one. But I honestly, for me, the natural progression of Coming to America was actually the Nutty Professor movie. When you know the dinner scene where he played everybody at the dining room table. That's the natural evolution of Coming to America. That's like,
but you know what?
That was an actual story with funny parts in it. Like that's the Eddie Murphy formula. And for me, all you got to do is just get the story right. Eddie Murphy can handle the funny part. And that's what disappointed me about the movie was all you had to do is just get the story right. Eddie Murphy can handle the funny. But if it's just all funny all the time, then there's not enough balance and you end up with Beverly Hills Cop 3. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It still wasn't an awful movie. I still think it was okay for what it was, but it wasn't awful.
It was okay, but when you got the people they got for that movie, here's my thing. If you got that much talent and the movie's okay, somebody messed up. That's too much talent. That's too much talent to have an okay movie.
See,
I can agree with that 1,000%.
There's two types of movies, man, in my opinion. They are good. You have good movies, and then you have good movies with rewatchable. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think Coming to America. I could rewatch it here and there, but it's not like Coming to America 1 was like, damn, I have. What do I feel like watching? Oh, what the hell? I just put on Coming to America.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you can watch that over and over and over again.
Yeah, it's one of those, man. I feel like I've seen that movie at least once a year my entire life.
Too. Yeah. And when I'm cleaning my room, I have it on as the background noise.
I ain't that pressed. I'm not that pressed. But Havoc, I'm glad you decided to get that off your chest. Like I said, I'm pretty sure you was itching.
Yeah.
To voice your opinion on that. But we're gonna go ahead and continue with our free agency breakdowns. Well, obviously, we're doing the AFC East and the AFC North, but we're gonna start off with the AFC East, kicking it off with the New York Jets with a 2-14 record. You guys are too familiar with the head coach. End up being fired. They're bringing a new guy, Robert Saleh, the ex-defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers. A lot of questions, a lot of lack of talent and questions on the New York Jets. They're currently sitting with $70 million in cap space. I guess my first question would be, Sam Darnold, is he staying or is he going?
Staying. I think he's staying. What can they do?
I can see staying.
Yeah, I mean, I could see him staying because he's still on his rookie contract. I could see him staying and them kicking the tires on him, see what he's got with the new administration. But I don't know. It's not like I don't think Sam Darnold's forgotten how to play football, but the Jets have not been a good destination for him. Yeah, they have not been a good destination for a young quarterback.
I don't know if the Jets. Go ahead. I think the Jets is a good team. They were just poorly coached last year. So the defense did really well under Greg Williams. It's just that offensive head coach was terrible. That's pretty much.
Wait, hold on. Did you just say the Jets are a good team?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, Shake. While you elaborate on that, I'm gonna go ahead and enjoy this cookie right here. So I'm gonna mute myself, and I'm gonna let you elaborate on how you think the Jets are a good team, regardless of who the head coach is.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to put you out there, but you got to explain that.
I'll be more than happy to. Number one, last year, none of the receivers they had were healthy. They kept, it was a multiple shuffle of the receivers. And the final end last game, they beat the Rams, and they beat another team when all three of the receivers came together. Their defense has always been solid. It's unfortunately the coach, their head coach, kept throwing bubble screens and running on third and long. If you know, and we're Dolphin fans, you know what I'm talking about, Havoc.
Yeah.
So I think that the players didn't respect him. You know what I'm saying? You had Jamal Adams out here talking trash about him. You know what I mean? Just even taking shots at the owner so he can get the hell out of the New York Jets. So I think Adam Gase, nobody wanted to play for him. So now that you have a good, a better head coach, a way better head coach than Adam Gase, I think the Jets are going to be a formidable team next year. And you could book this. And hey, by the way, do what you do and cut this out, okay? Because I want to replay this.
Wait, hold on. So the Jets are going to be better than Buffalo and New England and Miami?
No, I didn't say they were a Super Bowl team. Now, don't get it twisted. But they were better than what they were last year, for sure.
2-14. Okay.
They're an interesting team. Actually, when I think of their past head coach, I think about Jimmy Johnson, but for a different reason. I don't know if Jimmy Johnson was the greatest X's and O's coach, but he was a master of personnel management. Like he knew how to treat stars like stars. He knew how to treat role players like role players. He just knew how to treat people. And from what I've seen from Adam Gase's track record, at some point the bottom falls out. And just like the coaches don't really respect him. We saw that this year with Greg Williams. Greg Williams has basically got the tape measure out in Adam Gase's office, trying to measure it up. Like, oh, he's gonna be out here in like 2 weeks or so, measuring up his office, all that. You know what I mean? Like, you can't have coaches below you undermining you publicly and letting it slide. So at some point, especially in the modern NFL, man, a lot of it's X and O's, but a lot of it is just personnel management, being able to, not would say keep guys in line, but at the bare minimum, have guys respect you.
All right, G-Money. Last thing, G-Money, I'm gonna say it to you in a language that you can understand. Chip Kelly. That's it.
Oh yeah. Okay. hey, DeVore, you done with your cookie? Go in, man, because I want to hear what you got to say.
Defend your boy Adam Gase.
I actually had like a little quarter left, but I sat here, was listening patiently, trying to understand where Shake was coming from with this. But again, it all comes back down to talent. Now, I think the leading receivers for the New York Jets last year was Braxton Berrios and Jamison Crowder. They were both sitting with 33 catches, something like that.
Denzel Mims.
So Denzel Mims, he was hurt in and out of the lineup. So I don't even think he caught a touchdown last year. So I expect him to make a big contribution in year 2. But when I look at the Jets, and by Shake making this dumbass bold prediction, I'm sorry, Shake. That was what are you saying? What are you saying? Like
I didn't say they were going to win the division. I just said they were going to be a better team.
You're saying
they're a good team.
Oh, okay. The way that you came out, it's not like they were going to win.
That's a problem. That's a problem.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you the exact same thing I told you about G Money and the Philadelphia Eagles. You have 6 divisional games. Which one of those 6 divisional games do you see the New York Jets winning?
I think they could beat the Dolphins and the Patriots once. The Dolphins, the Patriots just once. They split it. You don't think so?
Man. I don't know, man. The Dolphins laid it down on the Jets pretty tough this season, man. They laid it down on the Jets pretty tough this season.
I get you, but they have a let off every year. Every year they lose to a team that they shouldn't lose to. So it might happen.
They're gonna get spanked. And
the Jets couldn't even lose right this season, right? Like they lost all these games thinking they're gonna glide to the number 1 pick, and then they just go off and win 2 games at the end of the season and mess up their entire draft board. Like they can't even lose right. I like the head coach they brought in. Like I think the culture is gonna flip 100% from Adam Gase to Robert Saleh, but I think that was a solid move for him. But I mean, at a certain point, it's a matter of talent, and they had a good 2020 draft. They got some guys, but they don't have enough.
They don't have enough. It's going to take about 2 or 3 off seasons.
It's going to take a few more off seasons for them to get it together, though.
So okay, Shake, I'm gonna let you have the floor before we move on to the next team. How many wins are you predicting the New York Jets to have in 2021?
At least no less than I say about 6 to 4 wins.
That ain't a good football team.
Huh?
I would say
I'll say they're not a poor football team, but unfortunately, they're just gonna have to learn how to play together. This is a new team they're getting with, but in year 2, you're gonna see a massive jump. They're gonna be competitive. They're not gonna lose their shirts like the Dolphins did their first year under the rebuild.
I will bet you they will get blown out at least 5 times in 2021.
I'll take that bet.
From what Shake is projecting, they're going to go up the second year, and then the third year they're going to be a great team. Is that what it sounds like?
Yeah.
Or no? Much. Did I get that right?
Yeah, you got it right.
Okay.
Yeah. I can see them winning at least 6 games.
No, so you definitely took a shot of that Henny tonight because you talking you talking hella bull. You took a shot of that Brady Henny, huh?
Mm-hmm. No, not yet. Not today.
Not today. All right.
Hold on.
Let's go ahead and move on to the New England Patriots, right? So last year, a 7-9 record. We were expecting Cam Newton to come in for the New England Patriots and light it up. Obviously, that didn't end up happening. Currently sitting with $56 million in cap space. Cam Newton ended up just getting re-signed by the New England Patriots to a 1-year, $14 million deal. But $9 million of that contract is all due to incentives. $2 million is due to a signing bonus, and 1.5 of that money is fully guaranteed. So, looking at the New England Patriots, do you think Cam has something left in the tank to make the New England Patriots competitive?
Go ahead, Epic, man. I want to hear what you got to say.
Not really, because he didn't have much in the tank last season. And I mean, he had a bottom five of the league wide receiving core on top of that. So you got a guy who's not the greatest thrower, and you give him no one to really throw to. I don't know how much of an improvement the New England wide receivers core is going to make this year. I mean, look, the Patriots are at a place that NFL teams hate to be in. 7-9 and 9-7. That's where they're at right now. And this whole Cam Newton thing, it'll keep them afloat, but in the long term, it's actually not doing them any favors. They'd be better off. Well, I'm not going to tell them what they should be better off doing. I'm just going to say, Cam Newton in his prime could do a little bit more than Cam Newton right now. The Cam Newton right now, it's not what it used to be. And when you don't have the supporting cast around him, this team looks like textbook 7-9 and 9-7. That's what they look like a well-coached team. Terrible offense, decent defense. Bill Belichick coaching them, so you're gonna give them maybe an extra 1 to 2 wins, and that's where they're at.
I completely agree with you. They're a team of mediocrity. I don't know what the Cam Newton signing was. Maybe they just figured they couldn't get another quarterback. I'm not sure, but I agree with you. 9-7, 8-8, 7-9. They're right in the middle. I think that if they can work on their offense and maybe get a couple of running backs, maybe, or some wide receivers, I don't know. I think that they can make a jump if they have someone to throw to. But Cam is on the decline. So I don't see him doing anything.
All right.
Shake, bold prediction, please.
I will. First, let me take my sip of my Henny. Ooh, nice.
Shit, you
I'm
over
gonna
here coughing like that's the first time you drank this.
No, anyway, I just want to give a shout out to Life is a Gamble, aka Pete, and I usually don't agree with him, but there's one thing that I saw you retweet, and it'll be hypocritical of me because a lot of things that Tua got a pass on was that he had no training camp in the COVID season, and I think I'm going to give that same excuse to Cam Newton. Number one, they picked him up like towards the beginning of the season. He didn't really have an off season. No. Like you said, bottom 5 receivers. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, Tom Brady couldn't win with those receivers. So he's going to have a full off season with New England. I think he's going to be a lot healthier, and he's going to have the playbook down a little bit more. I think he's going to be improvement. I'm not going to say he's going to be Deshaun Watson or Patrick Mahomes, but I think you're going to see an improvement of this Cam than you did last year. That's my prediction.
You know what? Sorry, Shay. Go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead. It's pretty much.
I just want to give a point. That's been the history of the Patriots. They've never paid for wide receivers. They've always paid on the defensive side, and that's another greatness, a point to how great Tom Brady was. They've never had any greatness wide receivers unless that that 1 year where they had Moss and Wes Welker.
Mm-hmm. Wait a minute. G Money, real quick. Let me ask you this: are you pro Tom Brady?
Of course, yeah.
What's there to be against?
Okay, go ahead.
Continue. Oh, we got to get back to that later.
Please.
What's there to be against all the winning? Like, what's there to be against Tom Brady?
Continue, please.
He's the greatest he's the greatest winner of all time. What are you talking about? What's there to be against them?
Please continue.
This guy is something else, man. You don't like Tom Brady, but you love Adam Gase. I don't get this guy.
No, but anyway, listen. Here's the thing. One thing I will say is New England doesn't fit a square peg into a round hole. I think one of the reasons I think he's going to make improvements is now that there's film on him, now that they know what kind of offense he knows how to run or know how to his limitations. I think they're going to bring in receivers that are going to complement his game versus trying to get him some name brand receivers that don't mesh well with him. So I think that's a big reason why they're gonna he's gonna make a bigger jump. Again, like I said, I'm not gonna say he's gonna be a top 10 quarterback, but I think he will see much improvement from him.
That's a great point, Shake. That's a great point. I still think that it's not gonna work, but that's a great point.
I think I agree with Shake. Maybe you should take more sips of that Henny. I like that. But yeah, I agree. I'm pretty sure we all agree that the New England Patriots, they add some receivers that give Cam Newton an opportunity. We would see a totally different Cam Newton compared to 2020, where things were a lot limited for Cam. Correct?
Yeah.
And not just any receivers that will complement him.
Okay, so you got Will Fuller, you got Kenny Galladay.
No, he needs like
a Brandon Marshall, maybe.
Yeah, like a in shape Kelvin Benjamin. Like that's the ideal Cam, a guy that can make up for his some of his accuracy issues.
Oh, his erraticness in accuracy.
Yeah.
All right. Next team up is Shake and Havoc's favorite team. They be a little biased when we talk about the Dolphins, but the Dolphins end up having a 10-6 record, surprising the world. Currently sitting with $30 million in cap space. As you know, they end up releasing Kyle Van Noy this past week. Really ain't much to say for the Dolphins except for state of course, but let's just go ahead and just discuss Tua's future for like the millionth time. Where y'all stand on that? I'm gonna go ahead and start with G Money because I'm pretty sure y'all tired of hearing that same old sad song from Havoc and Shake.
I say ride with him. So this is my thing. If you can get Deshaun Watson, go for it. Go for it. But if you can't, ride with Tua. Just ride with him. I mean, the Dolphins are in an incline. They're doing great. It surprised everybody. 10-6 was amazing for the Dolphins to do that. Please don't regress, because I hate that. They have one great year and then they go back down. It's like, come on, man. Like, just keep it going. Just keep it going. Keep that same energy. Keep with the same defense and just keep it going. Like, I got faith in the Dolphins. I think they'll be much better, hopefully, than they, I think they could be more than 10-6 next season.
Yeah. I mean, when you have a long-term strategy, and this is not just in football, this is investing in anything. When you have a long-term strategy that's bearing results, there's no need to course correct. If the overall talent level of the team can increase, they have $30 million in cap space available. They just released Van Noy. They have considerable draft capital this year. They're projecting is only upwards from 10 wins, I would say. So for me, you have a long-term strategy. You're working the long-term strategy. You're getting the desired results from your long-term strategy. There is no need to course correct. If you increase the talent level just overall on the team, you're going to see better results. And you get, once again, I'm not saying Tua lit the world on fire last season, but I did see enough to say I want to see more. So for me, I say you get some, same thing we were talking about with Cam. Get some wide receivers out there, give them some guys to throw the ball to. It looks like the Dolphins are definitely going to invest in upgrading the O-line for the second straight offseason. Hey, man, the defense is there. It's not finished, but the defense is pretty much there. If they can make enough improvements on the offense, I'm not going to come up here and say that Buffalo needs to watch their back, but I definitely see the Dolphins, competing to be in the playoffs at bare minimum.
Well, you know what I'll say Buffalo better watch their back, because the Dolphins they're coming.
I hear you.
And you know what's crazy? I always talk shit about the Dolphins, but I'm giving them credit. They really surprised me last year. They played great.
Go ahead, Shake. Say your piece, man.
Yeah, like I said, one thing that I've been consistent on too is I'm not gonna give him a pass. I don't blame his O-line. I think his O-line did a decent job, and the talent around him either. Because at the end of the day, I don't think the receivers were that bad, but I think it was more of a chemistry issue. Because if you look at his best game, I think in my opinion was Kansas City. And he was throwing to backup players. Hold on.
Okay.
But anyway, he was throwing to the backup receivers, and those were the guys that he had most chemistry with during the offseason. So that kind of, in my opinion, is why I think Tua did so well in that game. I think Ryan Fitzpatrick had a second year with the players that he was currently playing with, minus Mac Hollins. And I think chemistry is gonna be a big factor this year. And just like I said with Cam Newton, what's gonna make him a better player? Chemistry and putting a game plan around him that's gonna help him succeed and grow.
Okay, so here's the thing here, because you already know I don't sugarcoat when it comes down to the Dolphins, win or lose. So those excuses that we hear these Dolphin fans make, I'm not saying you, Shake, I'm not saying you have it. Tua coming off the hip surgery, I don't want to hear that excuse. I definitely, that's one of the main excuses I don't want to hear, because at the end of the day, you're playing in the NFL. They felt like the training staff, the training staff came out and said you're fully capable to go out there and be active and play with the team. That's what you decided to do. So at that point, that excuse about the hip injury is out the window. You are just a regular player. That's it. That's just how it works. Because you don't see critics be like, all right, Tom Brady was hurt in that Super Bowl. That's why they lost to the Eagles. No, you came out there, you played a certain way, and you lost. That's just what it is. We don't look at injuries, but for some particular reason, that's what the case is with Tua. And I'm kind of sick of it, to be quite honest with you. I'm really sick of it because, like, we're giving him a pass.
Well, you don't think that's kind of harsh?
Actually, he largely won when he was playing, but go ahead.
It's not harsh, G Money. At the end of the day, you're getting a check. Millions of dollars to play
hundreds of thousands. He's on a rookie
millions of dollars.
Hundreds of thousands.
Millions. It's a $22 million contract. Millions. So you get millions of dollars. That's your job. You go out there and play to the best of your ability. If you weren't healthy, you shouldn't have played. That's how I sit back and look at it. And that's with any player in the NFL. That's how it works. So this crap about the hip, I don't want to hear it. Now, moving on to the offensive line, because that's an excuse. This is the best offensive line I have probably seen since 2016. So I don't want to hear nothing about offensive line.
We've had bottom 5 offensive line since 2016.
That's my point. Moving on. That's my point. This is the best offensive line since 2016. That's fact. Now,
such a low bar, though.
It's a very low bar because you're talking about the Miami Dolphins offensive line putting that, if not in 32nd, probably bottom 5. So that's how bad the Miami Dolphins offensive line has been. So for people to come out and say, oh, the offensive line is terrible, mofo, you need to look at 2019. You need to look at 2018 and then compare them offensive lines and then come back and talk to me because I see some pretty terrible offensive line. Now, going to the separation crap that the PFF team came up with, and now they want to ride the Tua. What did Armando say? The Tua Army want to use now.
Not a legitimate source of information.
That is not legit. And here's why. Because the Miami Dolphins for years have had problems with separation. Just looking at it from the times where the Miami Dolphins have played the New England Patriots in New England. We have struggled in man-to-man coverage, especially when Devontae Parker is not there. So now with Tua in the lineup, now it's, the receivers can't separate. Tua had to throw in tight windows all the time. Again, I don't want to hear it because these are the exact same problems. These are the exact same problems that have plagued the Miami Dolphins over the past several years.
You know what? I'm gonna put myself on mute because I know Havoc's gonna go in. So go ahead, man. Go ahead.
So first of all, number one, you brought up 2 problems that have plagued this team over the past, let's say, half decade or so. That's the offensive line, the wide receivers. Now, we consistently fall short, I would say, the past half decade in regards to those two factors, among other factors. I mean, in 2019, we had Taco Charlton and Charles Harris starting football games. That being said, we have to understand, and I understand from a financial standpoint how much emphasis there is on the quarterback because they make more than anybody else on the entire team. But in the larger context of things, and I've said this over and over and over again, people don't want to listen, so I'm going to keep saying it until they finally get it. I don't want to have to go to Home Depot and get a drill so I can put it inside your head. If you want to win in the playoffs, you need a whole ass team.
I agree.
Because this whole we're gonna get a couple guys and we're gonna make it work. Guess what happens when you get guys who can make it work? When you get to the playoffs, it don't work anymore. So it doesn't take much to consistently upgrade your team at every level and then build toward success. Because 4 years ago, the Cleveland Browns were the Cleveland Browns. And this past year, the Cleveland Browns were a game away from the NFC Championship game. So if you have a strategy that's working, work the strategy. That's all you got to do. So if I'm the Miami
they
Dolphins,
don't have a whole ass team.
Strategy.
They don't have a whole ass team.
They didn't have no team in 2019. And 2020, they squeezed 10 wins off that team. That's like squeezing.
Exactly.
Hold that thought about the Browns, because we go get to the Browns.
Juice out of one orange. I mean, honestly,
we go get to the Browns. But go back to the Dolphins. I'm not disagreeing with you on the fact that we need a whole ass team. Now, if we get to Deshaun Watson, that's a different story. But
no, it's not.
Why not? What do you mean? Why not? How is that a different story?
It's the same story.
It's a difference. You act like I'm saying, all right, trade away the whole offensive line and put in bums in there and let him play.
The Houston Texans won 4 games last year with Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson.
You're not sold on him? You're not sold on Deshaun Watson?
I'm sold on him. I'm saying you need a whole ass team. We're just gonna bring a guy in and give him insufficient parts around him, and he's gonna make it work. He's gonna make it work. Doesn't work in the playoffs.
What is insufficient?
Mac Hollins as your boundary receiver and Jakeem Grant.
And I keep telling you that was circumstantial because we were hurt. That's why he played. So
and then our
you
best
leave
wide receiver was injured
you're good.
Second half of the season, and our alleged second best wide receiver is hurt the entire second half of the season since he's come in the league. So this whole we just got to add one guy and it's all gonna work out. Impossible. If
we stick with Tua,
so if you
I
miss
agree
out
with
on
you 1,000% because it seems like you guys need to put that pacifier in his mouth and have things work. Now, if you bring in a Deshaun Watson, because currently, right now, with the offensive line that we had, clearly we made a trade to get the tackle from the Titans, Isaiah Wilson, if I'm not mistaken. That's going to solidify that right side. That's a flyer.
That's a flyer.
It is a flyer. I agree with you. It is a flyer.
Yeah.
Which is but he still was a first round pick. And this was just a year ago.
Ooh,
so
man.
I'm
how many times we gonna play this? How many times we gonna play this? He was a first round pick game.
We're gonna play it as many times as we have.
How many times we gonna play? He was a first round pick game.
Many times if we have to.
Yeah, right.
He was a first round
pick. A flyer on. That was 3 teams ago. So, it's you can't double down on a flyer, bro. You can't.
What? Hey.
Recent history tells you that.
At the end of the day, when I sit down and I look at the trade, I'm like, damn, how you not be able to, contribute to Derrick Henry's success, really? Mm-hmm. So that's one thing I do pay close attention to. And also look what he got traded for. I feel like, I know this is probably the conversation for a different day, but I think there's something underlying with him that the Dolphins don't know yet. That's why he ended up going for like a swap in seventh round picks. That's just my opinion.
From what I understand, it's off the field stuff with him.
That's what I mean. Like there's something underlying with him off the field that's a problem. Mm-hmm. That's probably why they was like, oh, we can give this mofo away for pennies. Here you go. You can have we just give you your seventh round pick back. We just want to be done with him. That's like there's something going on with that dude that hasn't came out yet. That's my bold prediction. But going back to Deshaun Watson though, like you take like King Mac podcast said. Be sure to go check out his channel. Great Miami Dolphins content, by the way. Yeah, you had Deshaun Watson to this exact same team. You win 2 more games. I keep telling you, I guarantee you we beat the Chiefs. I guarantee you we beat the Broncos, and I guarantee you we beat the Bills. And you can say what you want about you can say what you want. You can say what you want about that last game against the Buffalo Bills, but just remember, we forced the turnover at the beginning of the game, and what did we get? A field goal.
Are you talking about the game where Matt Barkley threw for 500 yards?
Hey, it's a totally different game if you put a touchdown on the board. It's a totally different game. So we could go on coulda, shoulda, wouldas, but at the end of the day,
I don't see Matt Barkley put up Madden stats.
We forced Josh Allen to make a mistake in the first quarter, and we were put in perfect field position to score, and we came away with a field goal. And to be honest with you, I'm not sure if it was a field goal, but if it wasn't, that's even worse. But those are those type of situations that Tua was put in, and he could not capitalize on those situations.
Right.
So, like I keep saying, 18 takeaways for the Miami Dolphins defense, and you couldn't capitalize on that. We should have been blowing teams out, especially the Kansas City Chiefs. When you force these mofos, they had 6 turnovers. Patrick Mahomes threw 3 picks. They fumbled the ball 2 times, and you still couldn't put up more than 30 points. That's all I'm saying.
Here's the big picture.
Hold on. Let me say something real quick.
Okay.
Last thing. You expected a rookie quarterback to do
I don't want to
something
hear
that.
the check.
No. I'm talking now, motherfucker. You expect a rookie quarterback to do something that who's that? Aaron Rodgers couldn't do in the playoffs. Score off of turnovers. He couldn't do that. You acting like it's a fucking easy thing to do. Dude, come on, man. Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers had 3 turnovers in the AFC championship.
And guess what I said?
And they lost.
And guess
and
what I said?
You expect a rookie quarterback to do something that Aaron Rodgers couldn't do.
What I say, Shake? I said Aaron Rodgers had to get it done. You had multiple opportunities to put this mofo in game away against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You ain't do your job. You did not do your job. That's your job as the quarterback. You need to do your job, and he didn't do that.
I think his point is you would rather have Deshaun Watson than Tua, because maybe Deshaun Watson would score a touchdown and they would win that game against Buffalo.
Maybe, but you can't. Let me tell you something. NFL is a roll of the dice. Sometimes you'll roll a 7, sometimes you won't. It's not an exact science. Just because you get this player doesn't guarantee success at any level, any sport.
Okay, but it might help. It might help. Listen, if you could get Deshaun Watson,
just because it might help doesn't mean it's going to guarantee. That's the thing that people need to realize.
But you got to take risks, right? But you got to take risks, right? You got to take risks.
Hold on a second. Let me say, you got $1 million. You have a chance to get $1 million. All you got to do is scratch this damn card. That's all you got to do. So you're not going to do it because it's the fact that you might not get it?
I'm not saying, but I'm just saying either way, it doesn't guarantee. There's no guarantee. That's what I'm trying. My thing is, don't say what he could have done when it didn't happen. You could say, if we had this could have happened. If we had that, this could happen. That's why you play the game.
This goes back to the argument of 2019 when the Dolphins were the laughing stock of the NFL, where they were in the bottom half of every single statistical category. How many wins would Tua have gotten with that team? Answer that question for me before we move on to the Buffalo Bills. If that's how we go end this. How many?
I don't know.
No, again, I said, okay, predict. Give me a number.
I would say about 5.
I say 3 to 4 is probably a good estimate.
Why is that?
Because he's not that bad. He's not awful. It's not like he was awful. He was still decent for a rookie. So I'm gonna give him some credit.
Yeah, it's not like he was out here he wasn't out here throwing games away.
Yeah.
Right. So at bare minimum, that's kind of what you hope to see for a rookie. Because yo, man, just don't throw us out the game, bro. Just don't throw us out the game. And I think, if you looked at the Dolphins last year, that was clearly the modus operandi for Tua is, hey, man, just don't throw the game away. That's it. Now,
hey, man, capitalize on these turnovers that Xavier Howard is over here working hard to get for you.
I understand the argument. Maybe you get a few more regular season wins. I understand that argument, but it's thinking small. I'm not worried about getting more regular season wins. I'm thinking about the bigger picture. And
the bigger picture is what?
What I just saw in the Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they had legitimate star players as role players. Antonio Brown was a role player on that team. And
they got him for cheap, though. They were good players for cheap.
They had a number of players on that team who are legitimate NFL players in role player positions. And when I say you need a whole ass team, that's what I'm talking about. I'm trying to build the overall talent level of the team as opposed to overemphasizing the quarterback position as important as it is.
I get you.
You can do that with Deshaun Watson.
How? You got to give up all the draft picks. You got to give up all the draft picks to get him.
Well, you don't have to have first round draft picks for you to still build a team.
Oh my God. You know, we saw a team that had David Clowney, J.J. Watt, while he was an MVP candidate, DeAndre Hopkins. What it was either Lamar Miller
Thompson.
We name it, like during that little run where Houston had guys on both sides of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Did they go to the Super Bowl?
Nothing happened.
Okay.
So this whole, hey man, just add this one person and then everything's gonna take off. How often does that actually work? How often does that?
Hey, when your team gets 10 to 18 takeaways, you better something takes off.
You act like we didn't just come off a 10-win season. You act like we just did not come off a 10-win season. We were a game away from the wild card.
Do you like $1 million or $100 million better? Do you like a Lambo or do you like a Toyota Camry?
Oh my gosh. I swear. You one of them dudes that goes to Sam's Club, buy that Sam's Club Cheerios, put it in the Honey Nut Cheerios box, and try to sell. I don't
buy Cheerios. I buy Honey Nut. That's what I buy.
All right, Carmelo.
I buy Honey Nut Cheerios. I don't buy regular Cheerios.
All right, Carmelo.
Well, let's go ahead and move on to the Buffalo Bills. Okay, so the Buffalo Bills surprisingly end up winning the division with a 13-3 record. Currently sitting with $5 million of cap space, and just yesterday they ended up re-signing their linebacker Matt Milano to a 4-year, $41 million deal. Now, I will be the first one to sit back and say this because after our first game against the Buffalo Bills, I was like, "Yo, this dude Josh Allen is still garbage." But somehow, Josh Allen was able to develop his game during the course of the 2020 season and actually make himself look like a Pro Bowler. Now, as far as the 2020 season, how can the Buffalo Bills elevate themselves even better than that?
Whew, man.
I think. Oh, go ahead, Abby. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I mean, you want to talk about Josh Allen looking like garbage. Replay that rookie season film. He did not look like an NFL caliber quarterback in his rookie season. So that, and to say that, they surprisingly won the division. Well, they won the division the year prior. So it wasn't that much of a surprise. And what did they do last offseason? They gave him someone to throw to. Their whole offense has a level of consistency now, I will say. Now, how do they build on that? Honestly, they just need to keep doing what they're doing. I mean, they have the guys to do something. They just need a one or two more guys and have another strong draft, and they're right there. In my opinion, the Bills are right there.
I think that the Bills are in the same breath as the Cleveland Browns. They just came out of nowhere. Like, their defense is so great. And Josh Allen, yes, he started out not good, but he progressed and got better. I don't think they need much. I think they just need to stay the course. They're projected to win the division again, in my opinion. I don't, as good as the Dolphins can be, I just think that they're not there completely yet. And I think Buffalo is still a little better than the Dolphins. So,
would you say Deshaun Watson added to the Dolphins? Would you put the Dolphins over the Bills?
Maybe.
I thought I should ask. Jake, what's up, man? Take a shot of that Henny, man. Take a shot of that Henny. I want you to keep that same energy. Keep that same energy, man.
You on fire tonight, bro.
Let's go. Let's go.
Right. As far as Buffalo Bill, well, Josh Allen, I think what helped him out is that he had a true number one receiver.
Yeah.
with Stephon Gilmore with that catch radius. And secondly, I think again, I'm going to say it again, continuity. He had Brian Daboll for his second year. He had and same thing with the defense. It's all about gelling together. I think the Dolphins are kind of like are following the same path that the Buffalo Bills are, but they're just a little further along than we are. And I think it's going to be a tough race. And by the way, Buffalo Bills is my most hated team in the AFC. So
Even more than the Jets.
Oh yeah, Buffalo Bills.
I
More
care
than
less
the
about the
Patriots.
Jets. I care less.
No,
about
but
the
what
Jets.
I'm saying is throughout the history, Dolphins, Miami, and New York sports, they go at it. So I thought that New York would be the most hated.
No, Buffalo.
Buffalo, as of late, have been a problem.
But historically, I would say the
Buffalo.
Jets have.
Historically the Jets, but as of probably the last decade or so, the Buffalo Bills have been a problem because you look back at the Dolphins and the Bills, like they've always caused the Dolphins problem as far as defensively. Like we can go back to talk about Mario Williams, Jerry Hughes, Marcel Darius, and all them guys up front. They have been a big problem for us.
Even Tyrod Taylor has been a problem for us.
Yeah, Tyrod Taylor too has been a problem. I remember when was it Chris
Eric Moulds
when he played for the Jets?
Eric Moulds, that's a name I have not heard in a long time.
Yeah, that's a name I haven't heard in a while. That's like early 2000s.
Eric Moulds. You want to talk about Lavernius Coles next?
Yeah. But I'm assuming everybody's on board with just staying the course for the Buffalo Bills.
Hey, they're right there.
And obviously we're gonna. I don't agree with the fact that Josh Allen's going to continue to get better. I feel like this is probably his ceiling. That's my honest opinion. I think this is his ceiling.
Either that's a high ceiling. That's a great ceiling. He was
it's a pretty high ceiling. Yes, absolutely. But I don't think he could play better than what he played in 2020.
I disagree. I think he can get better.
Yeah. I'd also say, I mean, he has a lot of just natural talent to start with. So, it's and look at let's look what Buffalo did. They got him, and they built the players around him. That's basically what they did. So, I mean, and in terms of you want to correlate with the Dolphins are basically a year behind the Bills, in all intents and purposes. They're basically a year behind the Bills. So. The Bills followed the ball. The Bills just followed their strategy, and look where they are now.
Two ain't mobile like that.
And I heard multiple sources that said that Josh Allen spent most of his offseason working on his throwing mechanics. So that's what a lot of the good quarterbacks do on their offseason is work on their throwing mechanics. So I think that's what kind of helped him a little bit, get an edge.
All right.
But before I finish this last sip of Hennessy, I just want to say one thing. Fuck the Bills. Cheers.
Okay.
1000% agree with that. All right. So we're going to, like I said, this is going to be a doubleheader today. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the AFC North. And we're going to go ahead and start it off with the Cincinnati Bengals. Give me 1 second.
What a mess. What a mess.
With the Cincinnati Bengals, with 2020 having a 4-11-1 record, currently sitting with Cincinnati Bengals. What do you got? $43 million in cap space. Now, Joe Burrow, the first overall draft pick last year, ended up having a season-ending knee injury in Week 10 against the Washington football team. His status is definitely in question, but outside of that, what could help the Cincinnati Bengals in 2021 to make an improvement?
A new owner, a new coach, some new mascots, overall on the defense, some new cheerleaders. They need everything. They've been trashed for a while, and what's crazy is that they had potential to be great, but I don't know what is it about Cincinnati. Like they just been doing this ever since Andy Dalton, and just I don't know. I don't think Joe Burrow is bad. I think he can be great. He needs some receivers around him. The defense needs some work. They just need an overhaul.
Question, G Money, real fast. Who had the better rookie season, Tua or Joe Burrow?
I think Joe Burrow didn't even walk out of his rookie season.
Hey,
So,
if Tua had the offensive line like that, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have thrown for 10 touchdowns.
I think Tua.
I mean, it's Joe Burrow's in a situation where his whole offseason is going to be rehab. His whole offseason is going to be rehab. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does in 2021.
And if he does better than your boy, are you going to be concerned?
I mean, not if we go into the playoffs. I'm not too concerned about it. But that being said,
hold on a second.
I am not sold.
13-5. 13-5.
If we're 13-5, there's no way Tua has a bad.
No, I'm
season
talking about Joe Burrow's numbers. 13.
Yeah, that's 13-5.
Okay. I mean, those are not bad numbers from a rookie quarterback. I would
phenomenal
say,
numbers considering what the supporting cast was looking like.
So is he more talented?
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, there's no question. Okay.
I would even go as far and say, if you put Joe Burrow in that 2019 Dolphins team, the Dolphins probably win 2 more games.
I mean, look, he was the number 1 pick in the draft, so it's I can only hate on him so much. But I'll say this much: Zach Taylor, the head coach, the first year he took over the Bengals, they were not a good team, but they weren't the worst team in the league. But they played like the worst team in the league. And one thing I've persistently seen from Zach Taylor coach teams so far since he's been with the Bengals is they underperform. I saw Brian Flores take literal garbage in 2019 and squeeze out 5 wins. Like he took Dairy Queen employees and squeezed 5 wins out that. Hey. I seen Zach Taylor play, get handed not the greatest hand in the deck, but a reasonable hand and not do much with it in 2019. I didn't see him do much with his hand in 2020 either. So I'm not sold that their head coach is the guy.
My whole point with Cincinnati is that they need an environmental change, like their mindset.
Organizational.
Their organization, they're losers. The mindset is like, okay, we're already sorry, we're not going to try. It's like I seen them so much give up on plays and just let guys pass them and they're playing zone. Like their mindset is bad. They just need a whole different environment.
Like a culture change.
Yeah, culture change. Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, G Money, I forgot to thank you for that 2019 win that we got against the Eagles.
Oh, okay. Yeah. When was the last time your team won, huh? At least we got one in my lifetime. That's all I care about. I'm done. I could be done with football if I wanted to.
When's the last time?
He's got us on that point, man. Let's just leave it alone.
When is the last time you had a quarterback walk out the door where he won you a Super Bowl like that?
Listen. We got one. That's all I care about.
Okay, hey, that's okay. But guess what? You're gonna be looking at us winning in 2021 and 2022 and 2023.
Wait, but who's us? Are you a Dolphins fan or are you a Cowboys fan?
I'm a Dolphins fan, but on this show, I have to play a neutral role because
you are an undercover Jets fan.
We have 2 biased Dolphins fans.
No, not anymore because of
so now I can't.
You.
Yeah, you.
Yeah, okay. No, man. You know what? You a fan of whatever team Adam Gase is coaching. You go be a fan of the Columbus High School Blue Jackets next season.
I'm gonna be a Seattle Seahawks fan because he's gonna be the offensive coordinator.
No,
he's not the offensive coordinator. They already had their offensive coordinator. It's not him.
Who's gonna be quarterback of that team?
Well, whatever team he going to now.
Who's gonna be quarterback of Seattle?
It don't matter. It's gonna be great.
Okay, yeah, it matters.
It's gonna be great.
It does matter.
It matters.
But real quick though, receiver, offensive line, and pass rusher is definitely a priority and need for the Cincinnati Bengals, especially the offensive line because of the lack of protection for Joe Burrow. For that to end up happening, for him to tear his ACL, is going to be pivotal. So that will put the microscope on the offensive line first because they have the running game with Joe Mixon. I like the rookie receiver last year, T. Higgins. If they just add another piece at the receiver position, I feel like they can make some noise in the AFC North, which by the way, the AFC North is a very, very, very competitive division. I think probably the most competitive division in football right now. But
Yeah,
we all agree, we all in agreement with those positions of need.
Yeah, I mean those and many others.
But those are the main ones, though.
Look, man, they just need to keep. They need to keep Joe Burrow. They need to keep Joe Burrow healthy. That's priority number one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
he's a golden goose.
Okay, so G Money. Now the moment of truth. I know you've been waiting the last couple of pods to voice your opinion on Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens, but the Baltimore Ravens 11-5 in 2020, currently sitting with $17 million in cap space. Probably the main topic of discussion right now is Lamar Jackson and that contract extension. We just saw what Dak got. Now, let's go ahead and try to construct the contract for Lamar Jackson.
First, I just have a question for the panel. Why is there so much hate against him? Like, what do you guys see that you don't see a future in him?
I don't hate him.
Or hates him.
I love him.
That's not me.
Why does everybody always think I hate somebody when I critique them? This is what it is. I criticize. Here's my thing. I feel like Lamar Jackson's style of play is not going to be sustainable longevity-wise. That's number one. Number two, he has not shown progression as a quarterback from year 1 to year 2 to year 3. Those are my issues. Now, Baltimore Ravens fans, NFL fans complain saying, who we got to throw to? I look at it as unless they draft a receiver, I don't see a star wide receiver wanting to play in Baltimore based off of how the offense is constructed for Lamar Jackson. Because you got to think about it. As a former receiver, I did not play on a professional level. I just played at the high school level. I don't want to block for you 70% of the time. I want to go out there and catch passes. Also, when it comes down to contracts, there are incentives involved where you got to catch a certain amount of balls and a certain amount of touchdowns and all that stuff in that as well. So that's another thing. But I just the fact that I just do not see progression in Lamar Jackson's game. Like it just goes from read 1, we're gonna try to make it to read 2, and then we're just gonna take off. That's what it is. What I see.
But you know what? That was my point. Maybe it's not him. Maybe it's the play calling. Maybe if he had a better offensive coordinator that would open up the playbook more, maybe that's what it is. Because he has talent. He's very talented. I think that if he had a better offensive coordinator, maybe his career would be better. That's just my opinion. So I'm sold on him. I like him. I think that he has great potential. He just need a better coach.
Here's the thing why I disagree with that. We can go back and we'll talk about the Buffalo Bills game because they had an opportunity to win the game. Probably that on that drive was probably the best drive throughout the whole playoffs that the Baltimore Ravens had. He threw a pick 6. And then you can go back to the game against the Tennessee Titans, which they should have lost. On the first drive of the game, he threw an out route, don't get me wrong, or what receiver that was. And he ended up cutting them short by like 3 or 4 yards. That ended up being a pick. So you just gotta those are basic quarterback throws that you need to make, and he cannot make those throws unless it's like a seam route or a deep post to the tight end or a shallow cross where a receiver is coming underneath. I don't see Lamar Jackson making no other pass.
So he can't throw downfield, is what you're saying.
No.
All right.
I'm not
All right,
rolling.
now.
I'm not rolling with that analysis.
So get geared to his talent. Geared to his talent. You know, get the receivers, get the play calling to help him.
Mhm.
If he can't throw downfield, if that's the issue, then run those plays that way. You know, those post routes and all that. I think that he just needs a better offensive minded coach that can help him to his, geared to his talent.
But if you can't do that, then how are you going to?
If Kyle Shanahan was Lamar Jackson's coach, we'd be talking differently about Lamar Jackson. I'll say it like that, because when he runs a true West Coast offense, that's essentially what Lamar Jackson needs.
He runs a Lamar Jackson offense. That's what he.
Yes, he does.
Okay.
Yes, he
Lamar
does.
Jackson.
You know what? He runs it better than Greg Roman does. So if Lamar is one of those special talents where you got to buy all the way in with him, and they got to get an offensive coordinator that can highlight his talents. Because I mean, the whole run Lamar out the pistol all day long. I mean, the league caught up. The league caught up with that. So at a certain point, you got to diversify the offense, or you got to get him one main guy. Like, I don't know if Devin Duvernay is really.
Well, that ain't the number one guy. So, you got Hollywood over there.
He's not a number one guy. Hollywood's not a number one guy.
I didn't say he was, but
he's a deep threat guy.
He's a better guy though over Duvernay. And I'm not saying he's only a deep threat guy, but that's his primary usage, right? Like, you got to define guys and roles. I think if Hollywood is your deep guy, that's a great role for him to play.
And listen, I got an idea. Yeah. Sorry, Shake. Just the Eagles are thinking about trading or giving away Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz on the Ravens. No, you don't think that would be good for him?
They already got Mark Andrews though, and Zach Ertz is, becoming a little long in the tooth. So to say.
Seasoned. He's becoming seasoned.
Yeah. He's on the Greg Olsen plan right now. He's on the phase out plan. He
on the Jimmy Graham. He on the Jimmy Graham.
He's about to get phased out.
Jimmy Graham. He on the Jimmy Graham.
About to get phased out.
Go ahead, Shake. Take a sip, man. Take a sip.
All right. Now, I did take a sip. And I'm going to quote my buddy Joe Pesci in that movie, My Cousin Vinny. Everything that guy said was bullshit. Let me tell you something. He did progress from his rookie year to his sophomore year. And saying he doesn't throw the deep ball. Remember the game opener in 2019, how he was hitting Marquise Brown with no issues? I don't care about the cornerback level. He did
versus the Dolphins.
Yes, he did prove that he could throw a deep pass. Okay.
Against the Dolphins.
Yes. So he had
Dolphins where people were saying they need to swap the Dolphins out with Alabama.
It don't matter. He could throw the pass. That's unfortunate. You know what I mean?
If you're wide open, I can throw the pass.
Name one quarterback that could throw deep, that could make those passes with somebody covering them in a tight window. I'll wait.
That wasn't a tight window. They had like 5-10 yards of separation.
Name a quarterback that could make deep passes to a tight window to an average wide receiver.
Any quarterback.
Name one.
If you have Lamar Jackson's ability,
you're still not naming one.
I said anybody. You give me anybody.
The name you can't name. Name.
How about
Aaron Rodgers.
How about this? Robert Griffin III. How about that? Robert Griffin III.
And who was he throwing to?
It don't matter. If you're 10 yards open, you should be able to hit that receiver.
So he can throw deep passes.
No, he can throw.
No.
Yes, he can. Yes,
if you're butt naked, wide open,
he can throw. Let's not do that.
No, everybody says that you're a hater because you go out of your way to take shots at Lamar Jackson every chance you get.
And you see this G money. You see this G money. He can throw deep passes when they're 10 yards open. Who does that remind you of? Tua Tagovailoa at Alabama. He was throwing the receivers 10 yards wide open.
See, another person that he takes shots at any chance he get.
It's messed up here.
Yeah. What about Josh Rosen?
See, I knew he was gonna bring that up. I knew he was gonna bring that up.
If he
It always
had
goes
10,
back to
if he had
Josh
10
Rosen.
takeaways, I bet you them Dolphins would have beat the Denver Broncos. I bet you that.
Yeah,
I bet you that.
And
I
those
bet
three
you that.
starts and those 3 starts that he had against Miami, he ain't scored not one touchdown.
Excuse me, defense was ranked 32nd.
Excuse me, he ain't scored not one touchdown.
Defense is ranked 32nd. You give him a Xavier Howard pick. I bet you he'll take advantage of that opportunity. I bet
What
you that.
does that have to do with him being on offense?
If you're starting at the 10-yard line and going
Man.
fucking 80 yards down the fucking
Dude, this
field,
motherfucker couldn't get a first down. Let alone a fucking touchdown.
Tua was
So I
starting
don't want
on
to hear that
average from
fucking
the
bullshit.
40-yard line. He
That
was
is
starting on average
bullshit,
on the
and you know
40-yard
it.
line.
That
What are you
is
saying?
bullshit.
What are you saying?
And you
We
know
can
it.
do a whole show on the Dolphins. It always comes back to the Dolphins.
Bullshit.
Bro, what are
Josh
you
Rosen
saying?
can hit a fucking barn door.
Are you serious? He was way
Yes, I
more
am
accurate
serious.
than Tua. Way
Yeah,
more
right.
accurate.
Let's not be
Yeah,
ridiculous.
right.
Way more accurate.
Drops.
Way more accurate than
Couldn't
Tua was
complete
in
a pass to
2019.
save his life.
And
To
like
wide
I said,
open players.
like I said,
To
they
wide
were.
open players.
Hey, if he had that offensive line Tua had, he would have played a whole lot better
Ifs
than
and
Tua did.
buts. Ifs and buts.
Nope, that
That's
ain't
all
if
you.
and buts.
That's all you.
That ain't if
That's
and
all
buts.
you do.
You
If-
see what you
if
want to
he had
see.
this,
You
if he
see
had
what you
that,
want to see.
If he had, that's what you do. You see what you want to see.
I see
No, yeah,
realness.
you
I see
see
real.
bullshit.
I see real.
Yeah, real bullshit.
I see
Lord.
real. I see
God.
real.
Bullshit.
I see real. If
Bullshit.
I'm looking up and the offensive line ain't blocking, ask G Money. Carson Wentz, every time he look up, he getting hit.
He getting hit left
Exactly.
and right.
Yeah.
What Josh Rosen go back, he looking up, he getting hit. Tua come back, he get 2 or 3 seconds in the pocket, he break the pocket, and he make it a throw. So why are you comparing the two? And Josh Rosen didn't even get the opportunity. That's all I'm saying to you. But
Yeah,
you keep on you go ahead and say that Josh Rosen, he throwing overthrows. When it comes down to it, if you can't set your feet to throw the ball, shake, you're not going to make accurate passes.
Yeah, right. Okay. That's why he's not. That's why he wasn't on a team till all the way till late last year.
Hey, to each his own. Like I said, hey, look at the facts. Look at the facts. Look at the facts. Next team.
Next team.
Good Ravens talk.
Great
Yes.
talk.
He brought that crap up because he sat back and was talking about a 10-yard when somebody throw the ball to him 10 yards wide open. Come on now,
man,
Happy.
it was no 10 yards, man. Come on.
It was
Quit
10
hitting on
yards. They
Lamar.
were
No, he
butt
wasn't.
naked.
No, he
open.
wasn't, man.
They put
No,
up
he
50
wasn't.
points on the Dolphins. 50 points. They were 10 yards wide open, Shake.
Dude, come on. You gotta stop hating on Lamar Jackson like that. Come on.
I'm not hating. I'm
Yes,
just
you
telling
are.
you I'm being real. I'm being real.
Being real fake. Go ahead.
I'm being real. Next team is the Cleveland Browns. Excuse me. 11-5 record for the Cleveland Browns. Surprising, I'm pretty sure, to almost everybody. And currently has $25 million in cap space.
That's what's up.
Now, again, probably playing in the most difficult division in football currently right now. Probably I would ask is what would be the move to put them in first place for 2021?
Keep doing what you're doing.
Doing what you're doing, but they got to figure out Odell. Like, are they going to keep him? Are they going to trade him? If you trade him, you can get some great assets, and you work on that defense. So they got to figure out what they're going to do about him because they have another wide receiver who's just as good to me, in my opinion.
Oh, you talking about Jarvis Landry?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they have depth at the wide receiver core. So I don't think Odell losing him would really hurt.
I don't know.
I'm trying to think.
Do you think if they lose the quality at the wide receiver position that Baker immediately takes a step back? Because I mean, he has legit Pro Bowl wide receivers on both sides of the field.
That's true.
Like that's something that, you know, to me the Browns are kind of like, they're a little bit like the NFC version of the Bills, where they've been kind of slowly building the past few years. And, they took a step back, but they got back together because they didn't have a real head coach the season before last. They had a fake head coach. So, just count that as a lost year. But they came back this year with a real head coach, making real progress, man. I mean,
they need what they need is more pass rushing. I think they need to shore up that defensive line, the front seven, and that would make them good. And I think Odell trading him. It sounds crazy trading Odell Beckham Jr. He's such a great talent, but if you can trade him and get some assets on the defensive line, I don't think it would be that much of a drop for Baker. I think they would still progress,
especially with that running attack they got. I tell you. And speaking of their defense, I mean, they got one of the best defensive players in the league rushing the passer with Myles Garrett. So they're not too far away. They're not too far. This is a very consequential offseason for them because they make the right moves. They make the right moves. Hey, it's not out of the question. It's not out of the question.
Can they win a division, though? Can they beat the Steelers and the Ravens for the division?
They could beat the Steelers.
Ooh, I will say maybe.
I don't know about that.
And a maybe is an achievement for the Cleveland Browns.
True.
Jake, take a sip, man. Take a sip and buckle your seatbelt. Take a sip and buckle your seatbelt.
No, I think that the Cleveland Browns, their whole offense is predicated on the run. It doesn't really matter. I mean. And that's why Jarvis Landry is a good fit there because he was a great
blocking wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And Odell Beckham isn't that, so they could actually get rid of him. But one thing one thing I will keep it real though, even though I'm a big Jarvis Landry guy, I'm not gonna lie about it. But he is a complimentary number 2 at best. He's not a number 1 wide receiver. I think that if you get him like he'll be a good complimentary to like a Julio Jones. Or to like a Megatron, you know what I mean? Somebody that's complimentary, like a Rodman to a Batman. You know what I mean? That's what I think his role is. I don't think he's a number 1 receiver, but I think he's a good number 2.
Yeah, I think
he could be number 1 for the Browns. He could be number 1 for that team if they,
if they're a primary running team. Yeah.
What is your definition of a number 1 receiver?
Jerry Rice.
Randy
I'm talking
Moss.
like as far as like intangibles. Like what do you see? Yes, like what do you see to make a guy a number 1 guy?
I think you want a guy that the defense has to actively scheme to shut down. That to me is a number 1. Is you have to change up your defensive scheme to shut this one player down.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, you have to double him. If a guy you have to come and double him immediately, which would leave up more room for the other wide receivers and the tight ends. Yeah.
If you treat him like a normal player, you're gonna get burned.
Right.
That's my definition of a number 1.
Like when I used to see one-on-one coverage with Randy Moss, I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like that's Randy Moss. Like what is that's you can't leave a player like that one-on-one coverage. That's a definition of a top-end wide receiver, a number 1 wide receiver.
Yeah.
And I get your point. Landry is not that, but I think he can be that for the Browns if they focus more on the running game.
I agree. I mean, I think it's particularly with his intangibles as a run blocker. DeVore brought up that wide receivers aren't really trying to run block, but when you got a guy, and there are some out there that love the run block. Jerry Rice was a good run blocker. Steve Smith was a good run blocker.
Definitely,
Hines Ward. There are some guys out there that they got some recognition for that. I'll say, it's kind of like with the NBA and a guy named Chris Middleton, where like he's not really a star. Like if he's your number 1, your team's not that good, but he's kind of has a talent level of a number 1, but he ain't a number 1. But if he's your number 2, you're happy with it. And I think that's what it is with Jarvis is if Jarvis is your number 1, you're probably looking for an upgrade. If he's your number 2, you're happy with it. That being said, man, Odell comes with a high price tag. So
he ain't gonna be that expensive.
They may be able. Well, you saying Odell ain't gonna be that expensive?
No.
You better check.
I can see a first round pick for him.
You better check the market price.
Oh,
better check
You
the
don't think
market
so?
price.
You don't think so?
Oh no.
No, only
He's
because
still
of
number
his
one
contract.
wide receiver.
Only
because
because
of
of
his
his
contract?
contract. Yeah, because of his contract and his age.
He's only
Wow.
27, but I still don't think he's going for a first. You probably
Not a
gonna
first?
get it. No,
I think so. I think
I'll
so.
I think so.
probably a second and a third, but you're not getting a first.
What about late first? Well, okay.
Maybe
I could see
even a late third first. Yes.
I could see the Rams giving him a second or a third for him.
Yeah, like come on
Yeah.
now, we can't stay healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but you know that hasn't stopped numerous players from getting paid, right? Like Jadeveon Clowney, I don't think has played a full season his whole career.
Which sucks because he has so much potential.
That is the story of his career, right?
Yeah.
So much potential, but you know, to a certain extent, with the Browns, luckily they're not wholly dependent on the run game. I mean, sorry, they're not wholly dependent on the pass game. So, but then you always comes a part in the playoffs where teams know exactly what you do well, and they scheme to take that away. And you need one guy, or you need a handful of guys that can do something that your offense doesn't specialize in. If you're a run-first team, for example, like the Titans, they need a guy like A.J. Brown to stretch the field, to keep defenses honest, right? My thing is if you allow Jarvis to be your number one, who's not keeping the whole defense from stacking the box?
So wait, are we in a consensus? Are we keeping Odell or are we trading him if we're the Browns?
Trade.
I think you got to find a replacement for him. You got to find someone that can stretch the field.
You got Rashad Higgins. He played well for them.
He did. He played well in his role. I agree with that.
Plus, you didn't miss a beat without Odell. So why would you be encouraged to keep him?
True.
That's the regular season, though. That's the regular season.
They almost made it to the conference championship.
And that's what I'm saying is when you get I don't view things as playing to get regular season wins. I'm talking about when the playoffs come and you have to come out of your comfort zone a little bit because teams are keying in on what you do best. You need someone that can break out and give you some balance.
Yeah,
I think
but the thing is
Odell gives them some balance, but at a high price tag.
I think the thing is different in football. The regular season matters more than in basketball. So I get your point, but you have to get wins to get to the playoffs. So I think that you should put more onus on the regular season as well. But once you get in the playoffs, you need somebody to put you over the top and get you to the Super Bowl. So I get your point too.
That's what separates the good players from the great players. They're gonna have to be able to elevate their game on the grandest stages.
Yeah. That's what separates T.O.s from everybody else, you know?
Yeah.
Because I haven't seen him ball out in the Super Bowl on one foot.
Yeah. I saw it. He should if the Eagles would have won, he would have got the MVP, definitely.
Yes.
Oh, you mean
he'd had a statue outside.
Oh, you meant T.O., the wide receiver. I thought you were saying uncle in Spanish. Sorry.
No, not T.O.
All right, so the eighth and final team, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers. End up winning the division with a 12-4 record. Excuse me. Currently sitting with $5 million in the salary cap, but they just ended up bringing back Ben Roethlisberger back onto the squad and restructuring his contract. They can end up saving over $15 million if they're able to pull that off. Now, for the Pittsburgh Steelers, what you think? What can we do to the Pittsburgh Steelers to put them over the hump?
Okay, I want to go first on this one.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first time I'm saying this. The Eagles were my team, right? But the Steelers were my second team. I was so pissed off that they lost to the Browns. Like, how do you do that? They're such a fraud team. They had this great year, and then get to the playoffs and lose in their first game. It's like, what the fuck? Like, what is that? That pissed me off so much. Like, I get the Browns were on to come up, but you don't lose to the Browns in the playoffs. You just don't do that. You just don't. Like, you're the Steelers. You're supposed to at least challenge whoever the top team was. Like, they were the top team. That pissed me off. I needed to get that out. That Steelers loss in the playoffs was horrible. Like, they had a great year. I'm thinking they're going to go to the Super Bowl. I'm thinking that Ben is going to retire with the championship, and it just came out and just like, how do you lose to the Browns? You cannot do that. Like, no. Okay, I'm done. I just need to get that out.
These Browns are different, man. These Browns,
they was playing with COVID. And they was playing with COVID.
Yeah, true. Man. But in terms of the Steelers, man, they've been man. They appear to have the regular season formula worked out. Like, winning regular season games winning regular season games at the end of the year is a problem for them. But generally speaking, winning and making the playoffs is not a problem for them. Now, when it comes to, not just making an appearance in the playoffs, but actually being a legitimate threat, they've been selling them wolf tickets for a while now. Out here talking about, Big Ben's going to throw the ball all around the yard. All the teams are throwing the ball around the yard now. So, at a certain point, Steelers are going to win games. They're going to have a winning record. They're always going to do that. Now, in terms of winning it all, I don't have no faith. I don't have any faith in the Steelers to do that.
So as far as their free agency, sorry, go ahead.
Now I was going to say they really needed to get that. The Steelers and the Packers are the two teams that really could have used J.J. Watt. Like, if J.J. Watt would have signed with either one of them teams, I would have been a little bit higher on them. But hey, man, it is what it is.
Yeah, man.
What are they going to do with Marcus Allen? Are they going to keep him, or is he unrestricted?
LaMarcus Allen?
No, not LaMarcus Allen. Marcus Allen. Sorry, I don't know why I said LaMarcus.
I'm like on Google, like LaMarcus Allen. Is this a new guy? I don't know.
I think him, and I think that they need more pass rushing. I think J.J. Watt, I agree with you, would have been perfect for the Steelers. They should have gotten him. That would have helped them. That might have helped them, get past whatever is holding them back. But they also need an offensive line. I don't think Ben can continue to get hit.
He did get signed back. I don't know why I was tripping. He did get signed back.
Oh, he did get signed back?
Yeah, he got
Marcus
signed back to a
Allen?
1-year deal, yeah.
Okay. I think that they're there. I think they just need something. I'm not sure what they need to help them in the playoffs. Like, I don't understand. The last few years, they've been losing in the playoffs.
I can tell you what they need. Another quarterback. The thing about Big Ben is, if you look at every time I look at Big Ben, I always think of the movie RoboCop. Have you ever seen the original movie RoboCop? How he was moving? That's how Big Ben moves nowadays. He doesn't even move
over the years.
He doesn't even bend his knees to move. It's like he walks without bending his knees, man. He's like a stiff.
So
he's stiff.
He's done.
No, he can still.
Yeah, I think. My opinion, Dwayne Haskins, if he's in the right situation, I think if they groom him up well and he get his head out his ass, I think Dwayne Haskins could be a good quarterback. Because one thing that Pittsburgh, and let me tell you something, you can see back there, see the terrible towel? I'm with you. Pittsburgh's my second team too, for reasons I'm not going to get into right now. But and Pittsburgh has no issues on drafting receivers. It's like every year they can get a receiver out of their ass somewhere. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Especially last year with Claypool. So I think they just need another quarterback.
But the thing is, they don't have time to groom another quarterback or wait till he gets better. The Steelers' mentality has always been the same. We want to win the Super Bowl. We want to win the championship right now. Yeah. And I think they're going to stretch Ben out as much as they can. I don't think he has so many years left. Like, I think he's in the conversation with Aaron Rodgers. Eventually, they're going to, get old. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, so maybe
Aaron Rodgers hasn't showed any signs of decline. We've seen signs of decline with Big Roethlisberger. So I was shocked to see him actually come back because Like he just don't look like the same Big Ben Roethlisberger. Should just held it up, to be completely honest with you. But we'll see. Also, shout out to Marcus Allen from the Maryland area.
That's what's up. Yeah, man. Steelers. It's almost like the Steelers winning 10 to 12. It's like almost like the Steelers winning 12 games. It's like other teams going 7-9 or 9-7. Like 12 wins is like their floor, basically. Like if they win less than 12 games, that's like a terrible year for them. Like a 10-win season for the Steelers is like a bad year. So at a certain point, like we know you can win 12 games. You know, like what are you gonna do when you get the playoffs? That's the thing with the Steelers.
You know what? I just want to say one point, sort of off subject. I think throughout the years, we were talking about this offline. The Steelers and the Ravens, in my opinion, has been the best rivalry in sports since 2000. No question. In football, at least, Steelers versus Ravens have always been classic matchups.
Yeah, I can't think of anything at the top, but yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah.
Oh, are we talking about all time?
No, not all time. Just since the turn of the century. Since
2000.
Yeah,
I'm a beg to differ. Any team that Tom Brady and any team Peyton Manning was playing on, that was the rivalry.
See, but the thing is, the Steelers and the Ravens play every division rivalry. Yeah. Well, no, I disagree with you. I understand. I think Peyton Manning versus Tom Brady, them two specifically. But I think as far as teams rivalry, there's nothing better than Steelers versus Ravens. Even still to this day, since last season, those two games that they played were classic. Went down to the wire. Yeah.
I know the Steelers Browns rivalry gets a little spicy at times, but I hear what you're saying.
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
Final thoughts before we end up closing this out, fellas.
Well, first of all, I think in terms of rivalries only work if it's two good teams playing. Like the Jets and Dolphins are rivals, but neither one have been particularly good the past half decade or so. So no one really acknowledges it as a rivalry, even though they kind of hate their gut. Even though I would love to see maybe a Dolphins-Bengals rivalry start off, especially after last year's game. They're out here targeting your boy Jakeem Grant's head. But as always, it's a pleasure to come on here. Yell at Devore about his admiration for barely qualified quarterbacks and head coaches. I'll see y'all soon, man.
Yeah, and one thing I want about the rivalry, a good example of rivalry is Florida versus Florida State, because they owe one will get 1 year, they get the best of it. There's not a consistent. Florida isn't winning about 20 years in a row, and neither is Florida State. Like Florida and Tennessee is a joke. We've crushed Tennessee most of the times when they play each other. You know what I mean? But Florida and Florida State, that's a great rivalry for the fact that they beat each other. And we hate each other's guts. So not as much as I hate UM though, but it's close.
I hear you.
But cheers.
Shake, man, your energy tonight was great. I love it. We need more of that. And
I knew it was in there, Shake. I just had to slap your ass one good time to get that animal out. I needed it. I needed that. Yes.
And you know what? I just want to say, like, every time I appreciate you guys allowing me to be a part of this. This is great. Again, I can't wait till we get to NBA talk because I'm going in on whoever disagrees.
Oh boy, I can't wait to get to NBA talk, man.
Oh man.
Yeah, man.
Oh man. All right, so again, check this out. We're gonna be back Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Considering the fact that free agency starts Wednesday, 4 p.m. Eastern time, if I'm not mistaken. So we got two more divisions left. We have the AFC South and we have the AFC West. So Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Be sure to go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe button. You can also be sure to listen to us on Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, and all other major streaming platforms. This is the Not for Debate. We up out of here, man.
Peace.
Adios, amigos.